Greetings, YouTubers and fellow Conan Exilers. Today we're going to do a review of Conan Exiles. This is a game that a friend of mine purchased for me on Steam for Christmas. Total surprise. Thanks a lot, man. You know who you are. And so he bought a dedicated server to play this game with us on. And this is how my experience went.
When there is nothing left but to live or die.
So my first impression so far is that this cutscene is pretty much badass. Like, the graphics are on point, the textures are just flawless, the animations are very lifelike, and the sense of cinematic action is what I would describe as complete. I mean, you're hacking and slashing and dismembering your enemies and impaling them and fighting them with your bare hands. And just when you need it most, it's that ride or die bitch coming to save the day. Like that bad bitch that you want to have. And she even offers you that weapon back. It's kind of cool. Like, this right here gets you invested in the game without even having played it. And that look of determination, that's what you have on your face the first time you witness this, and you have chills. It's just absolutely breathtaking. And I'm surprised my computer can run it. That's the first initial vibe. So, bit like most RPGs in the sense of character creation and customization. Breaking the fourth wall, sullying a virgin, expecting the Zengaran Inquisition.
Hey, I defecated on a statue. I had class.
Apparently,
But props on breaking the fourth wall with me.
Yeah.
I had improper handling of cocks and inappropriately deflowering of virgin.
At least I only sullied the virgin. Whatever the
Yeah.
fuck that means.
Mishandling of cocks. I was not aware there was a proper way to handle such a thing.
Well, if you shake
Right.
it more than 3 times, then you're playing with yourself.
Oh, dear chap, give me a moment. I must put on my cock-handling gloves.
Remember the friends that I mentioned? That's them. From time to time, you'll hear them chime in. Also, during the character creation, I noticed the setting for nudity was set to full. So if the cutscene looks a little bit different from what you remember or what you've played, it's because I was cropping out the wiener. Just be warned, if you put full nudity on during the character selection screen, you will get full nudity. You've been warned. So this cutscene introduces you to the game. You get face to face with Conan here. He picks you off of this crucifix that you're on and gives you a little bit of water, which is going to be a critical element throughout the game. Drinking water and eating food is part of this game, as with most survival games. This is a survival sandbox RPG. So you build your character, you upgrade your skills, your armor, your weapons. Then you fight your enemies and you build your base and you progress through the story. Like most survival games. This one is no different, except for maybe the balls and dick. Being an open world sandbox RPG, there's going to be a fair amount of exploration, resource gathering, resource processing, mining, alongside of all of the combat and base building aspects. Now let's enjoy the rest of this cutscene, shall we? Dick in the sand. That's how I like to start all my days. Just pound it right in there. So right off the get-go, I gathered some plant material and some other various things like stones and sticks and made myself some clothes. Tired of looking at that ass cheeks. So anyway, the beginning of the game's fairly simple. You don't run into anything that you have to fight right away. Gives you a little bit of time to get your bearings, gather a few things, get a little bit of the story progression, get you familiar with the menus, because there are a lot of menus and a lot of things with menus and a lot of stuff that you have to do in the menus. It's fairly typical. A little bit heavy at first for somebody who might be used to something a little more simplistic, dare I say, like Valheim. Comparatively, the menus, the leveling, the crafting, the resource gathering, it's all a lot more simple in a game like Valheim so far than it is this game. Um, One thing I've noticed in this game, when you're resource gathering, when you're walking along and picking things up, you can just hold the interact button down while you're walking and pick things up. So it's fairly easy at first to get what you need. Also, in this game, if you go in the river, you're safe. Nothing can get to you in the river. Nothing can swim in this game. Ironically, even crocodiles can't swim. You would think that they would swim right out there and chomp you up, but I guess the developers wanted to give you a little bit of safety in the beginning of the game, and, well, the river is it. In the social circles surrounding this game, this is called Noob River.
Okay, if you head west along the river, I'll run into you eventually.
The swimming mechanics in this game are really smooth and fairly satisfying, actually. And in comparison to Valheim, again, you don't really lose stamina when you're swimming. So you can indefinitely swim in the water. Like, you won't have to worry about drowning ever, unless you're under the water and you run out of air. But that's easy to come back up and to not put yourself in those situations. Um, the only time you lose stamina in the water is if you like sprint swim. So that's kind of typical.
Alright, I'm at Shattered Bridge.
That's not you. Like on the actual bridge or what?
Or at least the location marker popped up for me.
Did you see that crocodile? Weird, right? Okay. Well, I'm in the water, so there was like a lot of shit going on back there. So I had to move on. But I am headed over there.
F3, Foxtrot 3, upper left-hand corner.
Well, that's where I'm at. In the river is where I am. Might see you.
Oh, I see you. Sweet.
I am starving, and these insects are not helping that much.
We got food at the cabin.
And that's where Alan is?
Yeah.
Alright, I see him now. So now that I've met up with my friends and accepted the clan invite, I can now see them on the map. Another thing I'd like to throw out there about this game is that it would be really sweet if they had a mini-map. I can't count the times it's been the dead of night and I've been with my friends and we're running somewhere and it's so dark that I can't even see them. I just lose them completely. It's rather annoying, actually, to be quite honest. Hey, Malin, you got a nice makeover.
Just run, dude. Just run. It'll hopefully aggro on me eventually. For fuck's sake. Stop picking on the little guy.
Threw my spear at it. I don't know if I hit it or not. So, my first impression of an actual, like, life or death combat situation is this. It was fun. I can't lie. However, it seems a little bit less technical and a little bit more cinematic, if that makes sense. Like, Valheim, you push a button, they swing. You push the button 3 times, it does a combo. You know, you push the button twice, he swings twice. It's fairly simple. You can block and you can swing, and it's very clear and concise. Not so much in this one. When I kicked that thing, it was me hitting the block button, and I did not want to block with my foot. I wanted to, like, use my weapon defensively. It didn't pan out that way. It's going to take a little bit of me getting used to the combat system in this game for me to be able to flourish, I do believe. I guess I just have to get a feel for it. It doesn't come as naturally as I would want it to. That's not to say anything negative about it. I'm still fairly new to a lot of different games of this style, so there is that. One thing that I found it easy to help keep me going in the right direction was the challenge section. A lot of games have a section like this nowadays where they'll offer you some form of experience in order for you to complete mundane tasks. Breaking down rocks, cutting down trees, collecting eggs, killing humans, killing shalebacks. Here's the challenge screen. You can see there's a variety of options of things that I can choose to challenge myself with. And as you complete them, you get experience. And if you complete all of them, you can get a whole new slot of challenges, or you can get one at a time. You can also roll dice in order to get all new challenges without having to complete any. So I'm still getting used to the combat system in this game, and I have to say it's not terrible. If you get the feel for it and you try to resist the urge to button mash, it's not so bad. You gotta be very deliberate with each one of your button presses. Every strike counts, and if you mess up, you die. And like most sandbox games like this, RPGs, you have to recover your corpse and your gear on it. It's like a throwback to like Diablo and games like that. That way you don't lose too much. You might lose time, or in like the instance of Valheim, you lose experience and skills. The bow and arrow in this game is probably the most satisfying weapon to use, in my opinion. The way the arrows stick out of the enemies is just glorious. It's an enjoyment to watch. And unlike the other weapons, it has a quick strike and then a focus strike, rather than a light strike and a heavy strike, like this stone sword here. So if you do the heavy strike or the focus strike with the bow, it pulls it back to full length and allows you to hit the left click to release the arrow. Now you can also just left click it and it'll do a quick shot and have less power and less range. So after roughly 10 hours in the game, I've upgraded my weapons and my armor a little bit, practiced with some of the other things like shooting the bow over long range, which is really sweet. And surprisingly, it's like the most intuitive thing about this game as far as like compensating for distance. It's really easy. I enjoy it very much. But after about 10 hours or so in the game, I've completed a bunch of challenges, upgraded my character's skills, level, weapons, knowledge, armor, gotten a little bit more used to the combat system, did just a touch of building, not really anything even worth showing off, just enough to get the experience of points for doing it. I have to say, I'm fairly impressed with this game.
I'm gonna go hit up an iron patch to upgrade my tools.
I'll go with you.
Oh, perfect. Then I think we can just go... There's a little circuit we can run here then.
Like I mentioned before, the night cycles in this game are super dark, but they're not very long. It seems almost like the night cycle is even shorter than the day cycle. So it feels like you get more daylight than you do intense darkness. So that's a benefit in my opinion. It is fun being able to play a game with your friends cooperatively, and I understand that there's a player versus player mode in this game. So for those who like more intense competitive play, there's something for you too.
This bottom one, I'll get this
So
top
there's
one.
lots of mining and chopping and resource gathering, and you do all these things to build and to craft. So that's a necessary aspect of this game.
If I got it all.
But there's something in this game that is just special. That's different, cooperatively speaking. Like, boom. Like, that guy just ran right by me, like, screw you. I know who the real threat is here, and he just, like, totally flexed on me, but he turned his back on me. Look at that, I just cut him in half. Isn't that sweet? Like, that's just like the intro cutscene, where he's dismembering shit.
There's a ghost here.
Yeah, that leads to a tomb.
Okay.
Oh shoot, corrupted hyena. Hyena. I'm heading to the water.
And you can tell by the tone of my friend's voice that even though he's an experienced player, the game knows how to continue to challenge him. And that is important too for this kind of game, because after all, isn't the challenge really what we're up for? I mean, the cinematic quality fights and the realistic violence is all cool and everything, but there's just something special about being challenged. That's why we're here.
What happened?
Alan brought back like 1,100 iron.
Damn. I only got 55.
We got 100. We helped.
Well, with all that being said, maybe now it's about time that we discuss some of the more innate flaws in this game, because trust me, I ran into more than a couple. Now it's time to share those. This was before the dedicated server was set up. So when you're playing this game and you're on a server that somebody is hosting from their computer, you have to be within a certain distance of that player, or it will try to move you towards them. And I found that to be highly obnoxious. Speaking of obnoxious, when I logged onto the dedicated server to play alone, this is what happened. So I logged back out and logged back in, and this time I wasn't punching. But when I tried to walk, I just stayed in one spot, and I found that to be very strange. I don't know why this is happening, but it did, and now I'm at a standstill. This is where I'm at. Moments ago, I tried logging in to play Conan Exiles, and when I did, this is what I got. I noticed that a friend of mine is in the game, and I thought maybe it was that weird server error that I got earlier when my friend was too far away from me. But this is a dedicated server, so I don't think that that's the problem. But who knows? I'd give it a 6 out of 10 overall, but then I give up.
Come on, men. Are we Vikings or Vi casuals?